Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Internet Is You podcast. If this is your first time listening, firstly, welcome, and secondly, think of us as your friendly neighbourhood video game book club, coming straight at your ear holes with a different game each episode to discuss and pick to pieces so you don't have to. Whether you've played the game alongside us in anticipation of the podcast, whether you've played the game before, or even if the game is nestled comfortably in your pile of shame, there will be something here for you, so rest assured we have you covered. Ladies and gentlemen, what a treat we have for you this week, which I feel like I say every week, but we've had a good run of games of late. We have not one, not two, not three, but 4 games to discuss as we celebrate the 20th anniversary of Super Mario All-Stars, released on
25th.
25th.
No, wait, 30th.
30th. 93?
Yeah.
I got?
Yeah.
14th of
Did you
July.
say 20th or 30th?
20th.
Yeah, so it's the 30th.
30th.
I don't know
Yep,
if you want to do
30th.
that bit
There we
again.
go. Well done, David. The Super Nintendo on the 14th of July, 1993. And as usual, with me this week is my partner in crime, Mr. Alex Aldridge. How you doing today, Alex?
I don't know. Hot again, even though it's not really a hot day. I don't know what's happened. Have I got pre-podcast sweats? Am I worried?
Probably.
Who knows?
It's been raining in Aberdeenshire.
I noticed you were
for
wearing
about
jeans
3
and a
weeks
jumper.
solid.
So, yeah. As always, I miss it. That's so British. I can't be talking about the weather. Do you want to hear a funny story?
Yeah, let's go.
Toilet story.
Oh, okay.
So,
You've not been
because
standing any queues at White Hart Lane recently, so I'm not sure where
well,
this
no,
one's going to
there's
go.
nothing on there, is there? Exactly. Because of Cassie's sleeping early and we're not wanting to wake her up. Typically, if our ensuite toilet in our bedroom is used at night, it will not get flushed, which is not great. Certainly not for frivolous little things. So the other night, I think Rach was either asleep or just in bed reading or something, and I went for just a standard sit down wee, as you do. Little dab at the end with the toilet paper, not like a
that
dab
as well,
to
yeah,
celebrate. Yeah. I stand up, give it a little flush, quick look. There's something black and solid in the toilet, and I'm like, well, you know what I'm like. Anybody listening to this podcast knows what I'm like. So I'm thinking, did I just shit? I know I sat down, but I don't think I did it. So I could do a quick safety wipe. Nope, clean. Okay, wasn't a shit. Did I? I can't have pissed out whatever that was because I felt totally normal. So it's not that. Did my asshole leak? Why is there something black and solid in the toilet bowl? So I go out of the toilet. Rach, did you put anything in the toilet? What? No. Oh, well, no, I did put some of Cola's hair in the toilet. Sake, woman, what are you trying to do to me? I mean, is there anything more terrifying than if you just turn into the toilet and see something you're not expecting? That is, you don't want to have that going on. So yeah, it was a clump of black Labrador hair congealed into what conveniently looked like, I don't know what it was.
Ghost?
I thought it was. Yeah.
An alien?
Yeah, just a middle finger to me and a fucking NHS logo.
Yeah.
Better get to the doctor, Alex, because that's the worst thing. I'd already flushed it, so I couldn't then check. It's gone. It was just a fleeting flash of what was that, and then it's gone. So she's been warned. If you're putting weird things in there before I go to the toilet, flush it in case I freak out.
Flush it, or you could get a whiteboard or a chalkboard and put it above the toilet, and then she could just write anything that's gone in so you can check it.
Yeah, days since last toilet-based freakout, 0.
Yeah.
Just do the little counter.
You're just going to have to get into the habit of looking in the toilet before you sit down, mate. Just think, well, if you lived in Australia, do you not have to do that in case there's like fucking jabbing snakes coming out there at your bum?
Yeah, there's a croc in there, yeah.
Yeah. You don't want is it Killer Croc from
Good God,
Arkham
no.
Asylum? You don't want him in there.
I mean, it's listeners might be thinking as well that it's, I love my wife dearly, but it's a bit of an odd decision to put dog hair in a toilet rather than a bin.
I can't.
Or
talk.
is it?
If I shave, I shave in the bathroom. So rather than put it in the bin, like just with the clippers,
I shave
to,
over a sink.
Trim my beard.
Yeah.
I put it down. I sort of scoop it up and put it down the toilet.
Okay, fair enough. That's exactly the same thing.
It's probably unusual. I have been moaned at by my girlfriend a few times for doing it, but I just kept doing it and she stopped. So she's either got over it or she's just thought, This is futile. It's going to continue.
Okay, well, fair enough then. I guess, yeah, I shave over the sink and then it gets... That probably clogs that right the fuck up.
So yeah, we when we bought our house, we had a nice clogged ensuite bathroom sink, and then I took the U-bend off, and it was full of black hair. So someone had been doing exactly that for years. So that was nice. So yeah, I think the toilet's maybe a safer place for Cola's hair.
Somebody once bought me, and I can't really use it because we don't have the sort of proper space for it, but they bought me like a shaving bib.
Oh, yes. Does it actually
goes
work?
Like around your neck? No, because it's got like suckers that's supposed to stick to the mirror and then catch all the hair into the bib.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I just have like a really weighty beard, but it always just used to come off the mirror. Either that or again, I was sweating up a storm. The condensation then made it droop off. But yeah, it would always just... Or I'd knock it, I'd go for a nice bit of, fine line trimming, and then I'd elbow the fucking thing, and then the hair would go everywhere. So, no, that was binned. Thanks anyway, Rachel's mum, for Christmas. Cheers. I don't know about you. I mean, I've never seen you grow like an enormous beard, but mine's not huge. Yeah, mine's not huge, but it's definitely been the subject of a lot of gift buying at Christmases and birthdays. Beard books, beard like style guides, beard balm, beard wax, beard oil, beard bib. I just get loads of beard shit.
Mine for a good solid while, all my gifts sort of morphed into whiskey gifts, which was great.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it's sort of just become, I just sort of get gift vouchers and money now. But I'm quite happy. So like from Annie's mum and dad, I usually get gift voucher for that retro game shop. So basically,
that's perfect.
In there. Yeah, I just go in there and I've just got, right, this is what I've got to spend, and just look for stuff until I've spent the money, and usually spend more than I've gone in with in terms of vouchers.
Oh god. Right, okay, here we go. Speaking of spending stupid stuff, I've done some more bullshit buying.
Yes, what have you been doing?
We're spoiler everybody, we're going to do another music tier list later on. But David from S to D will have a little quick tier list of what Alex has bought on eBay/CEX in the last. There's only 3 games to go through. It wasn't a massive splurge. So first of all, we have Pro Evolution Soccer 6 on the PlayStation 2.
Yep.
For 50 pence.
Yeah, that's S tier. Got it to be. I often have thought, well, not that we live close to each other, but if we ever lived close to each other, a fun sort of like YouTube video series would be to pick like game series and sort of work our way through them. So like, we're going to do wrestling games for a month, and then we just play different wrestling games. One of which would have been like Pro Evo / football games over the generations. I think that would be a great one. So a Pro Evo game is spot on. Also, Pro Evo up to this point, I think the days are done now. But up to this point, the Pro Evo has done me solid on the video on our draft.
This is why
episodes.
I bought it, which is going to be a running theme for all these things that I bought. Because I also went ahead and bought Trauma Center.
Okay, yeah, I'm interested to see what you think about that, because I'm sort of dimly aware of those games.
Part of my love-hate relationship with CEX, because sometimes they're a joke, and as I think I may have said on here before, like the way that they charge £1.95 postage on every single item. If you buy like a basket of 10 games, you're getting charged £1.95 for every one of those 10 games.
They don't bulk.
Even if they come in the same parcel. It's £1.95 each time, because they say, we've got to source it from different stores to get it to you, so that's why. So that sucks. But a £5 for that DS game was good, because you look on eBay, that game goes for like 15 quid.
It's funny. Was it that? It was when you sent the sort of screenshot of loads of Trauma Center games on Discord, was it? I was looking at it. It was like CEX. It's like, we buy for 50p, we sell for, and it was like, I don't know, £5, £5 or something. Like, oh my god!
What's that, 1,000% markup?
The markup is absolutely insane. They make.
Yeah, I'll never forgive them for selling that PS5 for £720 when it was scarce. That's disgusting. That's professional scalping.
Yeah,
high street level scalping. And the final game I bought was Ridge Racer 7.
Yeah, that's another S tier. That one.
I hope. KDB picked it.
Based on that,
in the last drop. I don't even think it got. What did it get? Like 81? Wasn't massive as he
That's
probably
another
expected.
series I'd like to go on a deep dive
PS3,
of, is the old Ridge Racer games.
Yeah, it's about time I played one. I've never played any. I think
I've not played a massive amount of them, and I've got a vague memory of sort of like I really liked them back in like the PS1 days. So I played, is it like 1 and 2? I think is on PS1.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly. I really liked those, and then I sort of had a massive hiatus, and then I think I didn't play a Ridge Racer game till the PS3, and I didn't like it. There's like a certain brand of racing game, and the only way I can think to describe it is it's like the car on the screen, someone has stuck a metal pole through the roof into the ground, and rather than like, and it's like when you turn corners, it's like the car turns on the axis of the pole. It's the only way I can think to describe that. And
Mario Kart 64.
V Rally did that. One of the V Rally games, not all of them, but at least one of them. And like as soon as I notice it, I'm like, I can't play this racing game.
How good is a rally game? I haven't played a rally game in 8. I started playing a bit of Dirt 5, but I never really got anywhere with it.
I think like every few years I've got like a massive deep dive into a rally game in me. The problem is I think Forza Horizon's eating the lunch of those games.
Yeah,
maybe I just need to stay away from them for a while and go deep on a Dirt. Because you're right.
I'd like to do that. Yeah.
Dirt 2 was the one I lost so much time. I was even playing that online and stuff. That was magic. That game.
You got me into Dirt in general. So whatever it was that you loved, I think I must have bought as well because I'd never even looked at them until you told me how good they were.
They're so much fun.
Yeah, and even like Sega Rally on the 360, I really like Sega Rally. I think it's called Revolution, but I haven't played that in years.
That would be a fun. Maybe like. On our downtime at lunchtime, so we're not doing anything, we just need to, or just text each other, make a spreadsheet of like, what we'll do is we'll pick a theme, and we'll just start try and make our top 10 games within the theme.
Oh yeah. Oh, we could bring that out for a pod.
That'd be fun.
we can fill a gap in the schedule with one of those.
As like a pin, what was go and remind me again? There's something you suggested for a format, and then I was sitting in bed and I was like, oh, this might be something that would be good. It might jog my memory.
Like third party studios. Our favourite third party studios.
Yeah, maybe it was just a theme. I was sitting in bed and I was like, oh, I need to text Alex and suggest that this is an idea. But yeah, third party studios is a good one. And I was like, oh, like we just like come at it and it's like, I don't know, like horror games, and then we've just got to discuss our favourite horror games.
I think that's not a bad idea actually.
Or like football, or I don't know, whatever you like. Just because just pick a genre or pick
maybe for stuff that doesn't fit for a long form pod, like a deep dive into something like a rally game. Because what are you going to talk about for Dirt for an hour and a half, or for a Pro Evo? You're just not going to do it, or a wrestling game even.
Yeah. So
that's probably a good shout. I like that.
Anyway, yeah, I guess we can come back to that.
Yeah.
I was on the subject Sim we're talking about, because I was looking through the games we've got coming up this year. I started my hunt for video game guides again, so I'm probably going to end up buying a lot of nonsense video game guides. I was like, oh, I used to have Metal Gear Solid, but it got destroyed in the great flood of Scotland.
So what year was that? We need to year it. The great flood of what?
Must be like 2-3 years ago. So let's say the great flood of 2020.
Yeah. As if that year wasn't bad enough.
I know.
You lost all your fucking games as well.
Metal Gear Solid goes for like 30 quid these days. The first one.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I could, in anticipation of the game coming, or of us covering the game, I could get the PS1 game and see if I can find the guide. Because I've got the Metal Gear Solid 2 guide, and I think I've got Metal Gear Solid 2 on PS2. But it's quite expensive.
Remind me what consoles you've actually got over there now.
What I've actually physically got.
Yeah.
We may have to cut this, and I'm going to have to go and open my cupboard because I cannot remember.
Because I guess you, after the great flood of 2020, you would have had to, basically restock almost all of them. So you used to have 1 billion consoles. Now I've no idea. Is it? Oh, they're all in a box.
Well, some of them. So I have on a shelf out on display. I've got an OG fat PS1. I've got a Dreamcast.
I thought you were going to say PS2 for a minute.
I've got a fat PS2.
Not. Oh, sorry, I meant 3. What am I on about?
No, and I'm keeping my eye out for a good deal.
Yeah.
I've got a Sega Genesis and
What, an actual Genesis?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, lovely. Where'd you get that?
So I've got that, and I've got an American SNES as well.
Well, that needs
Clean.
some kind of this. I've seen somebody clean one up of those. I'll have to ask him how he did it.
So that was Annie's,
American SNES is horrible.
Annie's family used to have an American come and stay with them this summer, and as a thank you, she bought them games consoles, and they don't want them, so I picked them up. So and then I've also got downstairs I've got my if we're going all of them, PS5, Switch, Xbox Series S, and then I've got an Xbox Series X up here, and I've got my Xbox One X that I use as like a streaming box in my bedroom, and then I've got an OG Xbox which I got off my sister. And there's my PS4. I've got I don't know what version of a 360
That's
that
an
is.
Elite, I think.
It's a matte one though. I thought the Elite was shiny, and this is matte.
Oh, that's the same one I've got actually.
So I'm not sure what this is.
Xbox One
360S. Don't even know what that is. And I've got my Wii U, obviously, which I bought for Wind Waker. So yeah, I'm acquiring them slowly. We are getting back up there, but yeah, I'm not returning because I'm quite. I don't know. I fell down a bit of a PlayStation console rabbit hole before you rightly reminded me that if I would probably be better falling down an Xbox console rabbit hole because I can actually play the games.
Yeah.
So I've sort of pulled out of that, and I'm going to fall down an Xbox one.
Beautiful. That is an Xbox Elite.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, the S is the one that had like the touch screen sort of style buttons, not the like actual buttons.
Oh, I thought they all had touch buttons.
No, because the Elite one has like the physical like clicky thing, whereas the other one had like the sort of sensor button on it.
Right. Okay.
And then the Xbox 360e, and I don't know when that was even brought out, but that
was right before the Xbox
is redesigned to look like an Xbox One.
Well, maybe it came out after.
Don't think I even knew that existed.
There's one that came out. It was like right before the Xbox One launched, and it didn't have like Wi-Fi or anything in it again. I'm sure.
That is mad because apparently they announced it at E3 2013 is available that like immediately. A revision of the S model with a new Xbox One inspired casing. Has one fewer USB port and no component or video connections.
That would be quite a fun if you had money to throw around, collect like Xbox 360 variants.
Yeah, because there's only 5 core arcade on, and then there's Pro, Elite, S, and then E. I want one of those E's. I don't know why. There's no need for me to have one.
Yeah, I like the box. It's cool. Sort of the case it comes in. And there's also like the 360 was the era of, and I maybe they still do it, but I don't see it as much anymore. Console like themed by games, so that they would have like the Gears of War.
Yeah. Oh god, there'll be loads of those.
The
variants.
Halo one. There was an R2D2 one.
I remember that.
And then there's lots of other like third-party games ones. I'm sure there's a BioShock one that goes about.
Wow, really?
I think so.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
Yep.
The Xbox One, I think, is the only console I've ever sold my way completely out of that generation of console.
Oh, did you? So you got nothing?
Yeah. So everything else I have kept and then just upgraded at the time.
Guess there's no
but
need.
Because exactly, this was the most needless one I've ever had. Was the Xbox One S?
I don't think it was either of our main console either.
It wasn't at the time, and then the Series X is basically does everything that every single game is playable.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I had my PS4 Pro downstairs for the, the streaming machine Blu-ray player. So I've kept that. But as far as that's the one Xbox I no longer have anything of. I've got OG 360 series, but that one I just got rid of because it was still worth something. I guess I can't remember what I got for it now. 175 quid right after I bought my Series X, I think.
Great.
Might as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, this is not the Xbox variant podcast yet.
As we've sort of established, we're both excellent at wasting money.
Yeah,
when it comes to video game tat.
Endlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I just did it 2 days ago, based off of my own podcast. I didn't even get influenced by outside sources. Just Ridge Racer 7. That exists. Doesn't exist in my house though, does it? Yet.
Not yet. It soon will though.
Yeah. How's Yakuza treating you before we get back into Mario? How far have you got any further today? Done any more?
I haven't had a chance to play today, unfortunately.
Okay.
I'm hoping to get a wee cheeky 45 minutes in after we finish this podcast.
I'm going to sit and watch that.
Because I'm currently sleeping in... I don't know what... This is like two things. One, I'll finish my sentence. I'm currently sleeping in the living room because both Annie and I are unwell. And Annie has a cough. And I cannot sleep when Annie's coughing all night. So I'm like, I am just going to go downstairs and sleep. Because... I'll get more sleep that way. So yeah, I'm right in front of the big TV.
Dog cuddle?
Yeah.
Dog cuddle?
Annie gets Toby because he sleeps upstairs anyway, and I get Henry.
Oh, okay.
So I get the wee guy
right.
who just
Nice.
likes to sort of sleep in your head, which is fine. But yeah, where I'm going with that is so I'm sitting in the living room with the big TV. So yeah, hopefully I'll. Where I'm going? Yeah, it's stupid. I'm sleeping on the couch in the living room. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I live in a 4-bedroom house. There's no need for me to be sleeping on a couch. And the reason
brilliant. It's just because of the TV down there.
It's because of the TV down there, and there's like some junk on the spare bed, and I can't be bothered taking it off. So I just it's easier to go downstairs. Like I could just pick it up and put it on the floor, but that's too much effort. So I'll just go downstairs.
Plus, don't you need maximum distance from the coughing as well? I assume like a level of the house between you two would work better than.
Yeah, exactly. If I was just in the other room, I'd probably just build a heater through the wall. Whereas, maximum distance, you're right. So I am shattered because I've not been sleeping.
I heard you say before we started, I need to wake myself up, and I thought, I wonder what's happened.
I've got like those, like when you'll be well familiar with this because you're a parent. But when you're really tired, you've got the itchy eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've had all day today.
Yeah, I did not sleep well. Was it last night? Yeah, it was last night.
Were you worried about pooping black?
Oh no, that was. After a while, I did think this is definitely something Rachel's put in here, but because it was such an odd shape, I was like, but what could she have put in there that looks like that? Why is it in the toilet? But last night Cassie woke up screaming about midnight, which is one of the rare evenings where I was trying to sleep before midnight. And a few days prior, like during her daytime nap, she was like screaming, and Rach decided to like ignore her because typically that's how she's going to learn to put herself to sleep. Is we're not going to come in every time you cry, or you're just going to do it forever. So Rach ignored her, and she cried for about an hour and a half before Rach decided to go in and be like, right, it's not going to work then. Realised she'd done a massive shit and felt she was like a horrible mother for ignoring the fact that Cassie had a legitimate reason to not be sleeping and was crying, but she can't tell us that. So last night she's screaming and crying, and I said to Rach, like, do you want me to go in and check that she hasn't pooed? And as I walked in to her room, she was stood up in her cot and she like backed away from me. Then I picked her up and she was just screaming mummy and no. And then as I sat we've got a chair in there to try and give her a cuddle, she was just like kicking and pushing me away. That was horrible. So I just went back to bed. I was like, Rach, you're going to have to go in there. That's probably my first like proper rejection from my daughter. I'd just be like, no, mommy, while I'm trying to give her a cuddle. She just like does not want me. Then this morning, fucking whatever time Cassie wakes up, 7 o'clock or whatever, I hear, Daddy. Nah, fuck you, kid. You had your chance last night. All in my name now. I'm sleeping. Shut up.
That'll teach her.
Yeah. For emotions she doesn't understand. She probably had a nightmare or something, or didn't recognize me, or couldn't smell Rachel and the things she can provide to a kid. But it sucked. And I'm exhausted as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll try and bring the energy back for you as we talk about
it back.
What I would say is probably once regarded as one of the greatest packages, certainly value for money in gaming, until 2010, where they brought it out on the Wii and everyone thought it was the worst.
Yeah, they kind of...
Because it was just the same thing on the Wii with a soundtrack CD and nothing else. No Game Boy games, no Mario World, nothing.
Great video game packages. I try like Mario All Stars is definitely up there. The other one that jumps out to me is the orange box.
Oh yeah.
That's a great one.
Do you want a spoiler? Mm-hmm. That's on the next draft.
Is it? Oh, is it?
I've already got my 2007 list done.
He's ready.
They eventually made it a pack-in as well. I assume one of the earlier pack-ins
I think that's how I got it.
would have been Mario World.
I never had a box for the game.
Oh, okay.
And Nintendo did that annoying thing. They did it with the N64 as well, where they wouldn't give you a box. Because I used to have GoldenEye without a box, because didn't get it because it was a pack-in.
Oh, really? I thought I got a GoldenEye one that came with it, but it came with that shitty silver boxed one.
I've got a box.
They did it with Wii Sports. I think you got a box for that at first, and then after a while, it wasn't anymore.
Cardboard slipcase.
Yeah.
I do have a GoldenEye box now, but I had to go looking for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
annoying.
get it with my N64. Wait, I even remember opening up my N64, and it had in the polystyrene there was a little slot with GoldenEye in there.
Oh, okay. Have you still got that? No.
I don't have the box, but I've got.
Remember the flood of 2020. Come on, he hasn't got the box.
Oh no, I don't.
Well, do you?
Damn it! I thought I did because I gave my N64 to my sister, and then she gave me it back, but she gave me it back in like 2019. So
ungrateful.
Yeah.
Who gives back an N64? I suppose it was always going to be a loan. You don't keep a David Smiley console forever. That's for damn sure. Unless you of course you are nature.
The only thing I've never managed to wrestle off her is she's got a Game Boy Color that I've got my eye on. Every time I touch it, she's like, "You're not having it." I'm like, okay.
What does she want it for?
She plays well, nothing. I don't think she uses it, but it's got Tetris in it. But I've had an urge to play the OG. So we're not talking Mario All Star so far. Sorry.
No, we're not.
There's I'll need to figure out what it is. In fact, I'm going to have to find it because it's not fair to listeners. But I sort of like to stick on a YouTube video as I fall asleep, and I've started putting on Josh Strife Plays, and basically these are like 2-hour long videos where he just calls it "Was It Good?" and he basically talks about the game and goes through each level and talks about each level about a particular video game. So he's got things like Chrono Trigger, which is like 2.25 hours. He's got Max Payne. He's got Croc, Medieval, God of War and stuff. So I've been sort of slowly dripping my way through that, and I can't remember why I brought that up. What were we talking about?
Oh my god. The Game Boy Color.
Oh yeah,
Tetris?
So one of the ones, I watched him play. He's played the red and blue Pokemon games, which put me in the mood to play Pokemon.
I was just laughing at this could have been renamed to Two Nearly Middle-Aged Men Forget Stuff. What we were just talking about, both of us fuck, what were we saying?
Forgetful, being rejected by children, sleeping on the couch.
Can't nick a Game Boy. What's your sister's name again?
Tamara.
Give him the fucking Game Boy if you're listening, please.
I've got some Pokemon Blue to play. Although in the start of the Josh Strife Plays episode, he says, I had Pokemon Red because only real humans pick red or something. He just absolutely had a massive... he had a massive dig at Squirtle. That's what he did, which was like my go-to Pokemon in the first 3.
You don't have to pick the blue one because you bought the blue game. What's his name? Josh. Yeah. Come on, mate. You can still pick the red one. You need to find a friend and then swap the first 3 anyway. That's how the game works. And then it becomes trivial for all of it. Because you've got the 3 starters and it's just a joke. as I've said many a time, I've got Blue and I've still got Mew on my cart. So I wonder if that makes it worth more. It must do.
Hopefully,
It must
yeah, it
make
should
it
do.
worth more.
Until it corrupts because Nintendo won't save and all that.
Yeah, or the battery. Well, exactly. You've got to be careful with it. If you start a new, basically, I think if I ever want to start that game again, I basically have to find another Game Boy, get a link cable, trade him away, and then get him back again.
Yeah, and if I find myself playing that game and you saw me play and you were like, oh, you've put me in the mood to play, you basically got to find another copy of the game as well, so that you can not lose your previous save. Anyway, Mario All Stars.
Mario All Stars was developed by Nintendo EAD. As David said, it came out 14th of July, 1993, 30 years ago. By the time you're hearing this,
30.
It was directed by Takashi Tezuka, who is still a very high up member of Nintendo.
It's mad how many of them are still there. Is that just like a Japanese culture thing? No, because I don't know if PlayStation's got quite the same. It's got PlayStation have got Yoshida, I guess, Shuhei Yoshida and Kasurai. Is he still there?
I don't know. Because he was the big. Was he the big one or?
Yeah.
Was that his name?
They sort of do a stint. It's almost like a politician because Shuhei Yoshida used to be sort of the big boss, and now he's off in a little corner doing something now.
Was that really the big guy? I thought he had a different name.
Kasurai.
Ken Kutaragi. That's who I'm thinking of.
He's another one, yeah. But you're right. Kasurai was chairman and CEO for a period of time.
Kutaragi was his former Sony CEO. He ain't no more. He also had designed the sound processor for the SNES.
Oh.
Huh. Guess that's what they did back then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Takashi Tezuka at the time, although we all associate Miyamoto with the creation of Mario correctly, he was actually the director of basically all the Mario games other than the first one. So he directed Lost Levels, directed Mario 3, directed Mario All-Stars, directed Mario World 2. So you'd recognize him if you saw him. He also directed Link to the Past and Link's Awakening. So the guy's, chops. Underrated legend of the company.
Yes, seems
I would say.
Yeah, I feel like that is a good enough CV that we should all know his name in the same way as we know like Miyamoto and stuff like that.
I would say so, yeah. He didn't create the games, but he certainly... Yeah. I need to read that Iwata Asks book. I bet there was some talk about, maybe not in the book, but there's so many of those interviews. I think he has talked about Mario All-Stars before. Maybe just with Koji Kondo talking about the soundtrack, but we'll get to that later.
I feel like you've probably got this in your notes anyway, but I feel like every few years forget that how much better the Mario All-Stars versions of the games look than the OGs. So like,
you think they play basically exactly the same, but I assume you prefer them for that reason?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was like looking at various, because sometimes there's a few levels over the courses of these 4 games that I just got completely lost in. And I was like looking up guides on how to get through them, and yeah, I was like Mario 2 especially, and 3.
I was about to say that's amazing.
Oh my god, they're like so different, and I just never realized that. I think it's probably because other than Super Mario Brothers, my first interaction with these games was on Mario All Stars.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely played 3 on a NES first of all. In about 1990, 91, when I was about 4 or 5. Because I remember a rich family friend had like a NES and he had everything on it.
Yes.
I don't know when I actually did play Mario All-Stars. Probably again at a friend's house, and I don't think I owned it till I was in my late teens, early 20s.
Oh, really?
When I got the Mario All-Stars World version. Yeah, I didn't really have a SNES as a kid. I just friends had a SNES, and then I had a Mega Drive. Because, we're British, right? That's what we did. That was our lot, was Mega Drive. Mario All-Stars is the second highest selling game on the SNES with 10.5 million. The SNES itself sold just under 50 million. So you're talking 1 in 5 owners has got a copy of the game. Do you want to tell me the top 5
Mario
SNES games?
Well, All-Stars, Super Mario World.
That's number 1, 20.6 million.
Link to the Past, is that in there? Because I know, I was going to say,
no.
Up until the last couple of Zelda games, they notoriously are darlings to the Nintendo fanboys, but they don't sell massively well, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've got 2. I might struggle here. What else would be?
You've got 3 to go. Oh, sorry, yeah, you've got 2. Yeah, 3 left. We've talked about one of them on this podcast.
Oh, have we?
That's the number 3.
We've talked about one of them on this podcast.
It's been a podcast episode, yeah.
Oh, is it?
So has number 6, but that's not important.
Super Nintendo games. Well, Super Mario World, we did that.
Yeah.
And then we're doing All Stars. What other SNES game have we done?
Yeah.
You're going to have to tell me. I'm having a complete mind blank.
Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, so we did. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country.
Then you've got 4 and 5 to go. One of them is by Nintendo, one of them is not.
Chrono Trigger didn't sell very well, did it?
No.
Is that a Final Fantasy? Is that a sports game?
No, neither of those. Like I say, one of them is still a Nintendo game. Number 4 is a Nintendo game. Number 5 is...
F-Zero wouldn't have sold well enough.
You're getting closer with that, though.
Was it? Oh, Mario Kart.
Yep, that's number 4.
Mario Kart. And...
Number 5 was probably the biggest arcade game at the time. Better on the SNES. Correct, Street Fighter 2. Number 5. Only 6.3 million of that. Although that is quite a lot, actually. Considering how much it would have made in arcades as well. And on the Mega Drive.
What was the SNES version, the de facto sort of home version? How did that compare to the Mega Drive version?
The Mega Drive version doesn't run as well as the SNES one, and of course the Mega Drive only had 3 buttons versus the SNES having...
Oh, of course.
6.
Of course.
So you had the 2 shoulders and then the 4 face buttons, whereas the Mega Drive only had A, B, and C. So until they released the I guess it's the Mega Drive 2 controller. Could be wrong there, but that came out, I think, to coincide with Mortal Kombat 2 or 1, one of the 2. Because that's the way they had the A, B, C, X, Y, Z, L, and R. That was for one of the Mortal Kombat games anyway. The concept for Mario All-Stars apparently came after they finished Mario Kart, which was 92. And they were working on Yoshi's Island in 95. So that was in production at the time. And there was a gap in the release schedule. So Miyamoto then said, let's do a value pack with all the Mario games in it. And he really wanted people to give the people a chance to have a go at Lost Levels. For some reason, he thought that we'd all really love to play this Japan only, super hard, too hard for the West. Everybody knows as version of Mario. Rather than the retrofitted Doki Doki Panic that we got over here. We'll stop with the facts for a second. And I'm assuming you would say that you prefer what the Japanese would call Super Mario USA to Super Mario Brothers 2 / Lost Levels.
Yeah, I didn't...
You prefer our version to the proper Mario 2.
I think So I started off playing the Lost Levels thinking... I don't like this. I hate this. I hate this. And by the end of it, I didn't like it, but I had sort of developed a bit of a respect to it. It sort of, like I think I said to you in a text, it started reminding me of like the Mario Maker levels that you would sort of download, and they're just really brutal ones.
Not necessarily by the best makers either.
No.
Sometimes it's just spamming it with tons of shit.
Yeah, and that I don't think it's a great Mario game. I think if you look at the sort of cookie cutter format that makes Mario great, I don't think it ticks many of those boxes, if I'm honest. Like I mean, the things that the other Mario games do for the most part, and apart from a couple, is that they're really approachable and anyone can play them and anyone can get something from them. And then the better players and the more invested players, as they keep going and as they start to sort of pull the game apart and like dig into the edges and pull at the seams and stuff, then there's a challenging game in there.
Yes.
The challenge is just off the bat, and I think a lot of the challenge, and I don't know what you feel about this, maybe I'm being unfair, but I felt that some of the challenges were just like brutally unfair in a way that Mario doesn't tend to be.
I would say not only were some of them brutally unfair, they were actively hampering the general flow that should be inherent in every single Mario game.
Yeah.
There are a lot of them that require either a really precise jump or trying to find invisible blocks to get up somewhere high or get across a big gap. That if you don't know where they are, you've stopped dead, just jumping in thin air, trying to find something that's fucking invisible.
Yeah, I also found there's a couple of occasions where that you had to have sort of prior knowledge that something was coming.
Yeah. The even on the SNES, I found it quite shocking that even on that more powerful console, some of especially the castle levels where you've got like fire things, they will not appear directly as soon as they are on screen. You almost like get pop-in of them.
Yeah.
I'd find that I would be running and then all of a sudden there'd be a flame wall in front of me, one of them spinning flame things that should have been on the screen as soon as it was, as soon as I walked near it. But no, it doesn't do it until it's right in front of you and you have to kind of pull the brakes really quickly.
If we were to rank mainline Mario games, this may well be my least favourite of the lot. I'm trying to think of one I like less. There's maybe spin-off ones, but this is, like I sort of had a grudge and respect for it. That you sent me a picture of, why is this the worst platforming in any Mario game? Or what is the worst platform in any Mario game and why is it this? And
yes,
like that's the kind of stuff that reminded, because there's like inverted versions of that. So for the listeners / viewers, the picture you'd sent me was a picture of Mario standing above a pipe that he needed to go down, but the platform you were standing on was as wide as the platform you had to get down onto, so you had to sort of jump and get underneath it. There was inverted versions of that as well, where you had to sort of jump out and over. And they would do it late in levels as well. So if you messed up, it would kill you and then start you again.
Yeah, that's World 8-4. That is that jump that you're talking about. I swear that must be infamous, because there's also a fucking piranha plant coming out of that pipe you've got to get into, by the way.
Yeah, it's that one where at some point, I'm going to muddle
it's
a
like
few
directly below him, and you have to jump and then move backwards in the air. But you've got to jump forwards to get off the platform. So
there's in the piranha plants in that game at some point just stop caring that you're even there as well, and they'll just come up anyway. Like not if
they seem to go out of sync as well, don't they?
And there's ones where
like two pipes
you're expected
facing each other
to land on the edge of a pipe because the plant will be coming up. Yeah, I don't think it's a good game.
No, do I. They clearly knew that as well. Like they said, it was too hard for us to play. Which we've had this discussion on this podcast before, where based on that and that alone, I assumed Japanese gamers are elite. They are way better than us. All their games are so hard and ours aren't. And then you read like the magazines of the time, like later, N64 magazine or whatever, and they would be like, oh, Japanese gamers don't like hard stuff. That's why they have, there'd be certain versions of games on the N64 or whatever, that era, where European versions were harder because we apparently liked harder games. But I don't understand how that cultural shift happened, because based on this, I thought theirs were harder.
Yeah.
It's like always, but apparently not.
Surely the former's true, because like Dark Souls and things like that, the Souls games have come from Japan.
Yeah.
And I do think that's important, though. This isn't just if you've not played the Lost Levels, which you probably have, most people will listen to this podcast will have, but this isn't just a get good thing. It's just a purely, I think it's a poorly designed Mario game. Like, you more so than me, but both of us do have it in us to enjoy and have a bit of a penchant for like brutally difficult games. And this just isn't one of those games that
no. And they still knew that for the SNES version, because it's the only game on this whole package, I think, where you can save. It will save your progress to the level, and then you start that level. You don't even have to. If you game over playing all Lost Levels, you could do that level again. It doesn't even take you back to the start of that world like it does in Mario 1, the original, or in all the other ones. I think if you have a game over in Mario 3, doesn't it kick you back to the start of the world, the map that you're on? And Mario 2 probably would as well.
If you certainly if you get a game over, it boots you back.
Yeah, but this one lets you save after every single level, because they knew how difficult it was. It also gives you more lives. All the games have more lives, I think, that you start with. Yeah, you get 5 instead of 3 on every single one of them. They did other stuff as well. Obviously, they wanted to try and update the graphics to be closer to Mario World. Obviously, that's what they based their designs on. They had more colors, obviously, because of the more powerful hardware. They put a black outline around Mario. to make him stand out better. As you said earlier, it looks far better than all the NES games.
Yeah.
I mean, Mario 3 on the NES is like a technical marvel. It looks so much better than almost every other NES game that came out. Off the top of my head, I think some of the Mega Man games look pretty damn good. Kirby's Adventure looks incredible for a NES game, but Mario 3 has to be right to the top of the best looking games on the console.
Yeah,
and
great.
so
I love it. I love how that game looks.
Yeah, I like how they recreated Mario's sprite and how the sprites are different for Mario for the games as well. It's not just lobbing the same one over each game, and it's not as well. It's also not taking the mechanics of all like one. Like it's not like what is it? Mario Maker and Mario Maker 2. They all give it this. Didn't they give it all the 2D, even the 2D versions? They gave it the physics of Mario. Sort of new Super Mario Bros.
I think
or
you're
Mario
right.
3D
they
World.
certainly feel consistent to me.
Yeah, whereas these ones are not. They are the NES style, which is quite funny.
I find I find it quite interesting that even like going through these games, I never quite got on with the sort of Super Mario Brothers control style of Mario. It's not until sort of Mario Brothers 2 and 3 that I actually thought, oh yeah, I like the way this controls. And I don't know if that's a controversial thing to say because Super Mario Brothers is such a legendary game, but yeah, I thought there was a sort of floatiness and skiddiness almost, like to the character that I don't like as much as the latter games.
I certainly feel that Mario 2, for obvious reasons in that it's not actually a Mario game really, felt very slippery and the movement there was very imprecise.
I wonder if it's that it does have the sort of more, to me anyway, it has the more responsive air movement, and I wonder if that's perhaps the thing. Mario does have a little bit of it, but it's less of it, whereas even Mario Brothers 2 to me was quite, you're right, there is a slipperiness to the characters, but there is a responsiveness in the air, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know, like, if anybody out there listening and knows or has found this out before, let us know, or I'll have to Google it myself. But I swear there's something in Mario 1 and Lost Levels where it, like, when it drags the screen over to catch up with you, it's almost felt to me a lot of the time like it's dragging Mario as well, in the way that it sort of transitions to pull the screen towards the right. It felt like sometimes Mario's getting dragged sort of in parallel with the way the screen moves, and it felt like it was causing me to die sometimes when I don't remember it doing that on the NES. Obviously, I think Mario 3, obviously, you can go backwards again, can't you? You can, like, you're not blocked by the left side of the screen. You can go right back to the beginning again. So it doesn't do it for that one, but it definitely felt like Mario 1 did a lot of, it sort of rubber bands itself, so to speak, to keep up with Mario, and that affected his movement as well. I could be making shit up, but I feel like that was a thing.
It feels true. Even if it's not, who knows? Yeah.
But I mean, creating the original feel of the games is one of the first, they were really, really keen to do. So they left all the level designs and Mario's movement completely unaltered game by game. They didn't add any new animations or actions. All the alterations were apparently made by hand as well.
Oh, really?
One of the level designers, or I can't remember what his position was, but he basically had the original Mario Bros running alongside while he was working on it, so that he could compare it side by side, sort of frame by frame as he was doing it, which is fucking incredible.
So these are full-on remakes
from the original games.
Not
yeah, they just
remasters?
they sort of must have remade it by hand, I guess. Well, they altered it by hand, so maybe not. Maybe it was sort of pulled into the new graphics engine. They just pulled the physics in there, but then if they wanted to make anything different, because you can look at the differences on the Mario wiki, and there's just like almost an infinite number of tiny little changes. So I think when they did that, they went in and just did it like by hand, took something out and put it back in again. They kept glitches in as well. They consulted people who worked on the original games during development. But as I said, they did make it easier. They gave you more lives. They added save options, obviously because now you had battery backup in the cartridges, and save points, as I said earlier, were after every level of the Lost Levels to make it easier for us. That's the main stuff that they changed. For Mario 1, obviously during a game over, you get a choice to continue save and continue or save and quit, which you didn't get in the original. I think it just started you from the whole thing again. So yeah, lost levels. You start at the beginning of the current level. If you die, Mario Brothers, the original, then you start at the beginning of the world, just like the original one that you did. And in a 2-player game, apparently for Mario 1, one of the big changes there was that the second player now starts after you finish a level, rather than just if you die. So they kind of copied the Mario 3 Mario World style of level or die. Whereas I remember, like that kid I said who had the NES, I would go to his house, we played Mario 1. He would keep going and going and going because it was his console. And then if I got my go and I died, it would be straight back to him immediately. So I used to just sit and watch him for ages because he just wouldn't die. It was really annoying. Right, but let's talk about Mario 1 because we talked about lost levels. We'll get more on that in a bit, but you asked me before we started about how we would rank these games, which we'll get into after we've talked about all of them individually. Mario 1, I mean, now even with the SNES coat of paint, you can tell how sort of nascent stage it was in this idea of what this kind of game is. It feels very basic. The levels are incredibly short. It does feel
basic. And you're right. I was actually quite surprised how short the levels and the game felt. I thought wrongly that when we were undertaking Mario All-Stars, I was like, oh, this is a chunky boy that we're going to be getting through, but wasn't at all. Like each one is 3-4 hours max.
But yeah, I mean, Mario 1, what did I say? I beat it in 10 minutes the first time because of I've just got the muscle memory of where the warps are to get to World 4 and then to World 8, and I did it, in like 10 minutes or so. But even the full game is, I'd say, 2 hours maximum.
Short.
It's iconic, obviously, for a reason. It invented, it revived gaming as we know it.
It revived gaming, I think. A lot of gamers sort of our age, and by proxy, everyone a lot younger. I think a lot of people that play video games is either like directly or sort of once or twice removed are gamers because of this game, probably. Whether that's
absolutely,
whether that's like, I don't know, people of our generation. Well, I'd even say maybe us, but there will be people our age. But then also, I guess we could also be slightly removed from that. But like, yeah, you're right. It saved the industry, and it also think of the millions of people that fell in love with games because of that game. I mean, I think that broadly.
You're talking to one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me that this broadly applies to Mario All-Stars. This is the first proper it's a package of games, but it's the first time I can remember sitting down for hours and hours on end playing a game. It was this All-Stars game, so it was like minus the lost levels because even as a kid I didn't like it. I would just sort of cycle those 3 games over and over again quite happily, and this is the first of that. And then obviously All Stars is a sort of remake of the original Big Daddy, and it's like the Madonna of video games, Mario, in that that was that 1986 that game came out, 87.
I think 86. It might be 84 and 85 in Japan, and the rest
it came out, and Mario. Look at the size of the movie that was. He's still one of the biggest. He's now no longer just one of the biggest video game IPs. He's now one of the biggest IPs, surely.
Again, because I guess he probably had this wave in the 90s when SNES was around. He was probably at his peak. But yeah, you're probably right that he's gone back there now with the way that film's done. And
even you think of
filled with references to stuff like this.
His big competitors over the years are sort of like when Sonic was his nemesis. Sonic would not exist if it wasn't. Sonic is a direct competitor of Mario, and the Sega consoles probably sprouted up, or were allowed to sprout up and be successful as they were for as long as they were because of the way Nintendo sort of shepherded and reinvigorated the industry.
Absolutely.
It's such an important game.
No question. Yeah. And it's not a bad game.
Nope.
By any stretch.
It's a good game. It's still fun. I just think compared to some of the other games in this package, it's just showing its age a little bit, which is fine.
Yeah, like we said, it's very basic, and the levels some of the levels last 20 seconds, if that.
Yeah.
I feel which is why I've long since sort of felt that Speed Mario. This is where I would, employ that the most is that there is no thinking for these levels. It's just go as fast as I can.
And do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I found myself it sort of gave me the notion as I was playing through, because of how short it was, and I sort of did the same as you. Well, you already realised it, but I did the same as you and realised how short the levels were and how short the game was. I was like, isn't it funny that Mario started off this way and then it became a bit more of a meaty thing, and then when the sort of 3DS and the DS became a thing, and then subsequently the Switch, like Nintendo became aware that you were going to be picking it up and putting it down, and you maybe were playing it on a bus, you didn't have hours to dedicate to sitting in front of a TV screen because these were mobile devices. They were going to have to be shorter, sharper experiences. Then the level sizes sort of shrunk down again and became these bit more bite size, and now I guess we're sort of, because of Super Mario 64, they're a different thing now. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting realization.
Yeah. And then, I guess as we've already briefly touched on, Mario Lost Levels is technically the sequel to it. It was, I suppose, well, certainly in Miyamoto's eyes, the reason that this thing should have existed, because that's what he wanted us to experience. I just think it's the worst, as you said, rightly so. It probably may well be the one of the worst Mario games ever made.
And they've never gone back to that well, really. So I think Nintendo may agree with that as well.
It's not really talked about, and that level of difficulty in a Mario game has hardly ever been replicated, if ever. I mean, I guess Super Luigi U is probably one of the harder Mario games.
I've played that.
That's excellent. That's the best of all the new Super Mario stuff.
Oh, I need to get to that as well then. Maybe off to Vinted to see how much that is after this podcast. But yeah,
good luck with that.
For a company that is obsessed with being sort of family orientated and being accessible, this game is neither of those to me.
I just felt like they weren't prepared for the popularity of it, and probably how quickly they had to put this out. And remember, of course, Lost Levels, or Mario 2, the original one, is only on the Famicom Disk System, which is, maybe they were quickly trying to get something out to make that thing viable, when clearly it wasn't, because it disappeared afterwards. But this just felt like, what do we do then? Well, more of the same. Let's make it harder, because the last one you can beat really quickly, and maybe people want a bit more of a challenge. And people must have played Mario 1 so much, and Nintendo were aware that whole swathes of different countries, it's spreading across the world, people are playing Mario and talking about gaming. The fucking noun for games is Nintendo. They must have thought people must play this game so much that they must find it really easy, and we need to really challenge them so that this will last them longer. They have longer to get through this game, because now they must know Mario so well. We need to surprise them with different things. So now you've got shit like the mushroom that then kills you instead of makes you feel, makes you Super Mario. You've got there's one where if you go over the flagpole, I think it's level 3-1. If you go, there's a big spring at the end of the level, and you can spring over the top of the flagpole. And if you do that and you keep running to the right, you then get warped back to World 1.
Oh, is there?
There's obviously there's obviously the inverse warp pipes as well. Some of them that you get where it's you're in World -1. Do you remember level, is it 8-2? There's the flagpole, you have to find a hidden block, and it's a vine that goes up into the clouds, and the flagpole's actually up in the clouds. Do you remember that?
That's right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thought that was actually really cool, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's maybe a bit of naivety or inexperience at creating a sequel, maybe, to just didn't know how to differentiate it, because of course the actual Mario 2 we got wasn't a sequel.
No,
it was a different game reskinned. So you're talking beginning of the NES kind, certainly in this part of the world, Mario 1. Right at the end of the NES is Mario 3. It basically spanned a whole console's life cycle before they managed to actually make a proper sequel to the original game that was worthy of being called that.
Yeah, I think I'm repeating myself now. I guess it isn't, because maybe those that ethos wasn't in place by this point, but it just feels like an antithetical Mario game. It seems to go against the grain of what I would expect from a Mario game in almost every sense. Like, Nintendo are a company built on innovation, and unless they can innovate, they tend not to do things. They also, because of, like, we heard from Ubisoft recently talking about their Raven Rabbids game, and they felt that they shouldn't have put a second one out on the same console. Like, Mario game, like, Nintendo also don't like to double dip on their consoles. They'll sort of put a game out and leave it to exist for the whole generation of the console, and you probably won't get another one until
which
the
is
next one.
Yeah, mostly a shame.
Yeah.
That's a very good point, though.
I don't think the level designs are overly great. I just think, like,
no,
what we come to expect from a Mario game, this is not in almost every way, shape, and form, for good and ill.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said earlier on, it just doesn't flow nicely at all.
No.
Like, you know, that level 7-3, the one where you've got the wind and those big green springs,
the wind,
and you've just got to fly blind, and you've got, like,
you go into the sky, you basically just got to keep going, and you just hope that when you drop,
that's just like psychopathic level design. That is, there's no thought for the player enjoying themselves there.
No, but that sort of brings me to, like, when you were talking earlier before about, well, sort of combining what I'm saying about Mario being a Mario game and what you expect versus, like, what you're saying, like, people were getting through the first one within, like, 10 minutes. But they do that because they've played the game so much, they've sort of learned to be able to anticipate things. Like, that example of going into the sky with a spring, the only way you can sort of know when you're coming down is by doing it enough that you can anticipate it. Whereas before, that would have been you would have been able to use that to get a reward in the first Mario. You just got to use this in lost levels to continue. And I think, that's the kind of things that are wrong with this game to me, and that, like, the being better practiced at the game in the first one and subsequent Mario games allows you to sort of make you feel like you're busting it open and almost beating the game. I know beating the game means something different in America, but you know what I mean.
No, I completely agree. That Mario 1, you will learn the ins and outs of it because of, like, repetition of playing through it to get better and better. This game, it's going to be, the game is causing you so much struggle that you are having to repeat levels 100 times. I mean, Simon and I played this on the SNES version, not we played it on the Switch this time around, because now we've got save states and we've got rewind, whereas Simon and I did this on the SNES, and we were taking it in turns to do levels, and some of them towards the end of the game we were doing, like I said, hundreds of times, just banging our heads against it, swapping it over until you sort of can't take it anymore. You get, especially that, like, again, like that stupid one where you've got to go into the air and there's wind there. Even at the end of the level, there's, like, really tight little jumps. You think all the shit's over. Even to get to the flagpole is a real challenge, and we'd fuck up that last bit so many times, or the last level, 8-4, and how long it. I mean, 8-4. First of all, I think it's really hilarious how, like, Mario 1 and Lost Levels, almost all the Bowser castles seem to make you come down some fucking shitty stairs that he can't run down properly. And 8-4, I'm pretty sure there's, like, lava directly below you. Yeah. So if you walk forwards, you have to immediately run backwards, or, like, in the air, otherwise you go straight into lava at the beginning of the level. The amount of times we probably did that was, like, innumerate. And you'd get all the way through that level, and then Bowser's just ridiculous. There's, like, fire going on, there's flames coming out the ground, he's throwing hammers, he's jumping. Get all the way to the end, and then you die on him. It'd be so annoying to have to give Simon the controller after I got that far.
Yeah.
Whereas now, of course, I just rewound it and did it in the first try, because fuck off.
Exactly.
So yeah, I guess if we're ranking them as we go, number 1 is Mario, number 2 is Lost Levels.
Exactly, yeah. Enjoy your time with you in the nosebleed sections, Lost Levels, because I've got a feeling you're plummeting.
Indeed. Mario 2, Super Mario Brothers 2, or Super Mario Brothers USA, as they call it in Japan. Funny to, well, not funny to note, but due to the controversy of the original manual, where Birdo is listed as transvestite, at least somebody, a boy who wants to be a girl or something. They just turned it. They just changed it to female for the manual for this game.
Yes.
admitting it was probably a bit weird to put that in a game for children.
Was that what they did? Because I couldn't quite remember. I thought they had just sort of said Birdo was male at one point and then female at one point, and then people drew conclusions from that.
No, in the original manual, it says something like, he's a boy who either thinks he's a girl or wants to be a girl. I can't remember.
That's an unusual call from Nintendo.
Yeah, like to
fiercely conservative
to assign
company.
To and assigning it to
country.
what? A dinosaur thing?
Yeah.
In a children's game? Very strange. So in this one, now Birdo is just female. And appears in almost every single level of the game.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't actually realise, now on the SNES version, it actually makes the use of the fact that you have two buttons for run, X and Y. So you can pick something up and run at the same time. Rather than pressing Y and then pressing Y again to throw something. You can...
Oh, right, okay. Both. Yeah, okay,
so you can sprint and then throw it, kind of thing. Another change they made for the SNES version is that after you lose a life, you have the option to select another character. In the original NES version, you are playing that character you selected until you lose all your lives. Or you complete the level.
Are you?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was quite... I quite enjoyed and disappointed myself and got to the end and it tells you how often you've used each character.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But you didn't use Peach at all, did you? Which I couldn't believe when I saw it today and you showed me that picture because she floats in the air. She's like a cheat code. I use her in almost every level except digging ones where I have to pick Toad.
Oh, Toadaroo. I just went straight quicker. Mario. I don't remember using Peach very often as a kid, so I think I've just never got into the habit of using it. I didn't like Luigi's jumping.
Luigi's the worst. By far the worst.
So I was like, stay away from that guy. Mario's not the best at anything, but he's not the worst at anything. He's sort of a middle of the road character. Quite standard. He's fine. Yeah, and I think I never actually looked it up. I did look it up briefly today, but it was on Reddit, so who knows if it's true or not. But Toad can certainly dig faster than everyone else. I heard because he apparently he moves faster. He's got a longer jump, but I never made use of that.
A longer jump, interesting. I thought he had the shortest jump to compensate for the fact that he's fast.
Maybe,
but it's like being on the playground again.
We could look it up, but
yeah.
You said you weren't as into this game.
No, I obviously it's very, very much not an actual Mario game, so therefore it doesn't feel like a Mario game. They obviously made visual changes, musical changes. They made it feel slightly more like Mario than it would have done in its original guise, but it's all about a flow for me in a 2D Mario game. It has to be just an exhilarating sprint from left to right. You didn't find
having to grab the key and run to the door? I love those.
Oh, those are good. Yeah, those, and I do like the Birdo fights actually. There's something about that having to jump on the egg and chuck it back in its face. No,
there's like the rat lad, and then there's the
with
snake.
His bombs.
Yeah. And then there's the big dude at the end.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about the feel of it that I can't get on board with enjoying as much as I would like to. Like I say, the levels are too maze-like. Some of the ones where you're going underground and you're going through different doors and you're getting lost, and it's the screen's like panning. It pulls itself down when you drop down levels, but if you go back up again, certainly the digging bits, I found that all the time. Like I'd start digging downwards, the screen then pulls itself down. But then some shy guys are going to drop on my head, so I've got to jump back up, and then the screen pulls itself back up really violently.
That would often happen
really
to me. And I think it's interesting that I've come away from... I think I'll always have a bit of a soft spot for this game, but I came away from this game pretty sure in the fact that it's not even my favourite Mario game in this package. But I do have a soft spot for it. But I found the maze parts of these games less frustrating than the maze sections in like the quotation marks proper Mario games, where you would have to like hit a door in a certain order. Is it Mario 3 that does that? And Mario the first Mario certainly does it, where you've got to go through. I like the Bowser levels where you've got to sort of...
You like that?
the one where you've got to like go under and then middle and you've got to sort of work out which order to do. I didn't mind those. The ones I didn't
actually get to that in my notes, but I was gonna say I fucking hate those.
them.
In Lost levels, they're even worse. Ones where you just have to
I just looked them up.
that you've gone the right way, and it goes ding dong, you've done it. But if you don't, you're just on a complete loop for it. I hate those.
The version of that I hated was the ones that are like door mazes. It's certainly Mario 3 does it, and I was like, I cannot be bothered with these. The point that I was like, when I realized they were coming, I was like, I'm looking these up because it would just be a line of 8 doors. So you'd have to run through a door, check, is this it? No, go back through, check, is this it? No, go back through, check, and it's like, and then it would start moving you about. So then you'd think you'd got the right bit, and then actually you didn't. Then you no time for those, And I thought that is
absolutely fair.
The sort of puzzle sections were slightly better in this one because I found that if you just sort of picked a direction and went, you'd eventually.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, that does. I did find that I was playing this one today. Actually, it's the last one that I went to, and I do agree that sometimes if I just went all the way one way, I would eventually find
the only one in this game that's a bit of a fuck you is if you're doing some digging and you're like, you come there's like a pillar in the middle that you can't dig, and you're just like, well, I've got to pick one. So you pick one, you get all the way at the bottom, you're like, and it's like, nah, up you go again. I'm like, oh, what is that? That is just an FU. But you're right.
It's just an empty hole, and then the door's on the other side. Oh, yeah.
It doesn't feel like a Mario game in the slightest. And the enemies don't look like they're not, well, they are sort of retrospectively canonic, but like they're not standard Mario enemies. Like, like it doesn't feel like one of those games, but it's
What the hell is that like old man weasel thing? Like, what is that supposed to be?
I don't know.
That has never come back as far as I can. Like in my head, I can picture like it's never been in any other Mario games.
There's
Shy Guys obviously have.
Is there an old man weasel in Mario 3? Is it Bowser's turned one of the sultans / kings into one of them?
Yeah,
that's the only other example I can think of him because he's certainly not in any of the 3D ones that I can think of.
No. What a weird character.
Is this the first instance of? I'm trying to think of a previous example of the cactus that wobbles across the screen that you can sort of pick up his head and throw it like that.
I think so, yeah.
That that is an enemy that sort of stayed the course of time.
It has. You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's definitely in Mario 3 as well, isn't it? That one. And I reckon maybe the sun levels in Mario 3 probably
like the suns
come from the
key lads
thing. The key lads, yeah. They are terrifying. Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to. That's probably my favorite part of the game. To be honest, you got to grab the key and just leg it. You got to know where you're going because like even when if you slow down and start trying to dodge them, they will have none of that. They'll just get you. You can maybe dodge it a couple times at speed, but there's a couple times where I would like get sort of tangled up in it. If you stop moving and just try to like carefully jump over them, nah, they're not having any of that.
And then like you've got to try and find a moment to either carry on holding the sprint button after you've picked it up, or when the screen's transitioning, I can probably press the sprint button now and he won't throw the key away. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they gave me like proper shit me up as a kid. Like I couldn't do them.
Yeah,
they were far too hard. I really like World 4 in Mario 2, the one where it's like all ice. And 2 of the levels are probably some of the closest to a normal Mario level where you're like... One of the levels is just like an onslaught of those little flying dickheads with spears. And they're all like different heights. And you've got like duck under and then jump and then duck. All the time you're skidding on ice. I love those. And then there's whales for some reason shooting their water at, which hurts you unless you stand on it.
Yeah, if you stand on it. So if you get it right up the backside, it's absolutely fine. Walk into it. Dead or injured. I assume because I think I'm going to be in agreement with you. I don't enjoy the way the health works quite the same.
No. And I was just about to say that was going to be my next point, that I really hate how random those fucking potion things are. Where unless you know exactly where to throw it, like you might just throw it and get absolutely nothing. There's no mushroom there. It's just a black world.
Every so often you just get a wee heart as well, just floating up the screen. I
don't know how I've triggered that.
No, I don't know.
Cherries. I think you get a star if you get like.
Oh, is it? Because I just actively avoided those. Well, not avoided. I just didn't care. Because there was once I got a heart. When I was finishing off today. There was a heart. I went down inside one of those little pots, and I jumped inside and a heart started drifting up the side, but it was drifting up the side in a place I just could never get to.
Yeah, like in the wall.
What a waste that is.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah, that wound me up as well. Really, yeah, really weird game. It's definitely better than what they got in Japan. It's definitely like if we're now going back to ranking it again, this is now number 2 for me. Yes. I don't think it's better than Mario 1 though.
Yeah, I like I say, I'm always gonna have a soft spot for this game. I enjoyed it. I think it's partly the noise, but there's something quite satisfying about the way the characters pick things up and throw them.
Yeah, that's fair.
I enjoyed things like where you pull a bomb out and you've got to like time the throw so that it drops down and it would explode at the explodey walls at the right place. Like there's like little bits and pieces that, like you're saying, Birdo fights are quite fun. Yeah. There's bits and pieces that are fun, but it almost feel the more I think about this game, because you and I have spoken about this game a lot over the years in different guises and various topics and things like that, but like the more I think about this game, the more I feel uneasy about even considering it in a Mario list. Does that make sense?
I completely agree with that, yeah.
It's a good game to me, maybe even a great game to me, but it's like, this is not your home. It's the only thing I can think of to describe it. Like, it just feels off being in a Mario list.
And it's almost as if things they took from this game that you were mentioning earlier, like certain enemy types or whatever, kind of tie that to Mario, but they do it retrospectively rather than at the time when it... This is a Mario game because it wasn't, but now it feels, I guess, slightly more like one because of things like the enemy types or like picking stuff up. I mean, you could pick up the shells in Mario 3.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to be as a direct result of them putting it in this game, or the fact that different characters do different things. Peach's floaty stuff, Luigi jumping higher, like all of that has carried on.
A great shit. And that's another thing is like shells break when they hit things in this game. They don't bounce off walls and come back to you. They just they describe it. This is just coming to my head, and I was actually thinking about earlier when we were talking about the next game we've got coming up, in the summer of Resi. Spoiler alert. I was like going through the list of like Resident Evil games we've played, and we're like talking about vibes and how this doesn't feel like a Mario game. I was going through it and it's like, oh yeah, Resi, and then it was like I started making a list of Resi likes, I was like, oh, Parasite Eve, and I was like, it kind of is, but it's like I just don't have the Resi vibe from it. But then like in my head, Dino Crisis, for example, it's just a Resident, like, that is very much Resident Evil game. It's interesting how you get. Like, if you were to ask me to put my finger on what it is, I'm not sure I could tell you, but yeah, it's just a vibe. And Mario 2 doesn't give off a Mario vibe.
No. Even though Miyamoto was working on it, and it's Nintendo developed Doki Doki Panic. That was them anyway.
I'd love a copy of Doki Doki Panic.
That might be a Famicom disc thing as well, though. I think is the only problem there.
Oh, is it?
Don't quote me on that. But
if I ever find myself in Japan, I'm going hunting for it.
Yeah. I wonder how well that did over there. Or whether people just didn't even pay any attention to it.
I don't know. What do the characters look like?
They're all like a sort of like Arabian Nights style visuals in that game.
Oh, yeah.
But I think they did sort of palette swap them. So the characteristics, I believe, are the same. They just sort of fitted them to Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Peach in a way that somehow worked.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because it struck me when I finished the game and you're like looking at all the enemies and all your wee pals are coming out. It's like, there's no Toad. There's like, this is not the Mushroom Kingdom. This is very, very.
Well, it's a dream, right? So
yeah. Oh, it does that thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's why. I guess that's how they get away with it. That was not in. If that dream sequence is in Doki Doki Panic, I'll be astounded. Because surely that's how they just be like, yeah. That's why it's not a real Mario game, isn't it?
It's all a dream.
Yeah. So then, Mario 3. Not that many like significant changes that they made to this from the NES version. Again, uses 2 run buttons, so there aren't many things you can do with that. But apparently, like if you're holding a Koopa while you're Fire Mario, like a Koopa shell, you can kill the Koopa by shooting the shell while holding it. If you press the other run button, which I didn't realise.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know
that. Toad's houses, you can move while he's still talking, which apparently you couldn't do before. You had to wait for him to say, whatever it was, pick a box, its contents will help you on your way. You had to wait for that to finish before you could run and grab something. Luigi is no longer just a palette swap of Mario, and now he's taller and thinner. And on the status bar, you now get a coin symbol for how many coins you've got instead of a dollar sign. That is as significant as the change. Everything else is very, very like intricate and ornate. But this is, I mean, there's surely nobody thinks anything other than this is by far the greatest game on this package. It's the greatest Mario. It's the greatest probably game on the NES. Yeah. It's a fucking work of art.
It's one of these, like we're talking about how Super Mario Brothers is sort of still a good game, but it's shown its age. This game it's not quite Mario World levels of like this could have been released today and still be good, but I think it's still this is still a fantastic game.
Yeah, setting the formula of having the world map with different exits, different things to do is how they have made every 2D Mario game since. And probably will do again.
Yeah, and that's the thing that jumped out to me is it feels so much more substantial than the other Mario games in this package.
Absolutely.
And it just feels like a more thought out, cohesive maybe not, but it just feels like a more thought out world. And then this is the first one that's not just levels, because it's got the weird bits where you get attacked by the hammer lads, and then there's like the tanks later on in the game, and there's you're right, there's like the pairs thing. What do you call that? That's what I would have called it as a kid. Pairs, match 2, whatever.
Yeah, match 2 maybe. Yeah, and then like the 3 slot thing.
Yeah, and then like you say, there's the chest picking and stuff like that. There's like loads of little things that they've only built on as the games have gone on.
Yeah, and then
each world feels distinct. I was
about to say this. They started to theme things now. This has got to be one of the starting points for Mario games now having to have a fire world and a water world and a big world and a sky world and an ice world. It's a tough game as well. It's especially towards the end, like the gauntlet of like tanks and airships you've got to do at the end is not fucking about. Why
are they all made of wood?
I mean, just bring some matches and
you're in a fire world.
Gas canister. Yeah, that's a good point. And your leader is Bowser, who breathes fire, and you've made everything out of wood.
Is this like build on the idea? Like, I guess even the package when you open it, it's like a kids sort of acting show. So I guess to make them look like a toy, right?
Yeah, that's a good. I always forget about that thing, but it is supposed to look like a play, isn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, Mario 3 is fantastic, and like
the
music's good. The way you can interact with shells is obviously like different from the previous Mario games.
Flying, of course.
I don't think you can pick up shells in Lost Levels and Super Mario Brothers. So it's like there was one bit that really I was actually half written a text that was driving me mad. There's like a sort of underground level where you've got to like jump on a shell, like have your Tanuki suit or whatever, grab the shell, run and fly up with it to a bit, and then you've got to drop it and use it to break blocks so you can get to a pipe and then continue the level.
Oh yeah,
given the way that
towards the like World 7 maybe.
I had to eventually just get my Pro Controller out and stop using the actual little thing because it was hurting my hand. Because I couldn't figure out, and maybe I was just using the wrong buttons, but what is it? Nintendo different. It's basically the Xbox Y. Is that X?
It goes Y, X, B, A, like in diagonal order. So B is at the bottom, and then
so it's Y and X. So I was using Y to sprint, X to jump. I couldn't.
Or B to jump on the Switch controller.
Yeah.
Because X is Y. Yeah.
I couldn't figure out how to hold the shell and tap the button to make his little fly.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So I ended up having to put my controller on my desk, get him in spot, and then like hold the button and then tap it, and then use my thumb to make him move because I just couldn't figure out how to fly and hold a shell at the same time. But the game wanted me to do that.
So you had the Tanuki suit and you needed a shell to break some bricks?
Yeah, so basically imagine a long corridor and there's like a hole halfway along the corridor and you have to fly up the hole, and when you fly up the hole there's bricks blocking access to a pipe. So you have to grab the shell, fly up the hole, throw the shell I could have just land.
Could have just used your tail.
I could have just used my tail. Well, that's that then. That's why I couldn't do it.
Because you have figured a method of playing that game out that I don't think anyone else has ever done. Like, yeah, I wish I'd seen that. That's outstanding.
If you want to see me figure that out as I'm describing the scenario, watch the video version of this podcast.
Watch the YouTube version, yeah. But yeah, that's 3. So for me, this goes 3, 1, 2 lost levels. I'm assuming it's the same for you, is it? Or is 2 higher than 1?
Nah. Yeah. I think they're different. For me, it depends how you present the question. So, what do I want to play right now? It goes 3, 2, 1 lost.
Okay.
If I'm talking about like what's a more important game and probably what's a better game, i.e. like considering where they're in their time, it's probably 3, 1, 2 lost.
I feel there's something about 1 on this package that makes it feel slightly, better than playing it on the NES, which feels very, very dated.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, Mario 2.
I will say
charming enough, but
yeah. I think it's Mario 1 may also be lost levels. There's like a night sky sort of background to that game that I think looks amazing. It's like there's like the castle, and then it's like a really nice deep. It's almost like a bluey black, and then they've got stars and stuff in the background. I think it's beautiful. I was actually looking at it thinking, I wish I had some of that for my wall.
That's one of the biggest like graphical sort of additions I would say they made. That, and like in the castles where they started putting like portraits of Bowser on the wall and like more statues and stuff in the background. Like they really added a lot to those levels as well.
Tell you what,
I mean, 3 is just so good.
3's excellent. It's 3, isn't it? That's got eventually when you get to World 8 and you start running out and there's like the laser statues of Bowser.
Yeah,
they kept absolutely messing me up, and then they just stopped at some point. I couldn't figure out what was setting them off. Is there something that sets them off?
I don't know.
Because the first couple times I got near them, I had to be like full sprint to not get zapped. And then like there was like the third time I encountered them, I was basically jumping in front of it and it wasn't doing anything. Certainly won't be a bug because there won't be
no, it'll
bugs
just be
like that in this game.
Yeah. I just like you just think of all the things it introduced. Like even now they're still popping in my head, like booze. Yeah. There's another thing that just came in this game.
Yeah. It's the things
the flutes. Like,
a lot of what you see, like, so if Super Mario Brothers paved the way for the video game industry to become what it was today, like 3 is the one that you see them really starting to build the format that Mario has become. And I think it's such it's funny how the sort of couple games before that were so different, and then this just sort of fully formed idea just plops into existence, and it's basically the template. Even for the 3D Mario games, it's basically the template that they've got to this day. Yeah.
Because they copied that. I mean, Mario Galaxy was slightly different, but then you look at Mario 64, you're still going into the levels for a painting.
Yeah.
Mario Galaxy 2, they basically just did a world map again. All the new Super Mario Brothers ones do a world map like Mario 3. Mario World obviously did. So yeah, this broke the mold for Mario games moving forward for good reason.
I have to sort of watch myself from time to time because I've got this little tendency to slip into hyperbole when we're talking about games that we've just finished playing. But I genuinely don't know if it's possible to sort of overstate how good and how important this package is, but certainly Mario 3.
Yeah. But the package as well, as you say. What an incredible piece of work they did to give SNES players a way to access like properly redone versions of every single one of the games that feel right but look incredible compared to their originals.
How much of a shame is it that how much obvious like love, care and attention this version of All Stars got, and then they did the 3D version?
I mean, it's a disgrace. They should
just
still be ashamed of that. They should have been ashamed of how they did this in 2010, as we said earlier, for the Wii version. Even more so, the one that no longer exists and can no longer be purchased by anyone legally. That was out for 6 months and had just shit versions of all the games except Galaxy.
That sort of rubbish package release of that sort of 3D Mario's is one of the 2 genuine vitriol I've received on Twitter, like abuse from people, because I said that I thought the ports were lazy and I didn't think they put any effort into it. And I got so much. I did that on like a GameSpot comment, and I went on. It was either Twitter or Instagram. Went on later on, and I just had some boy had just taken issue with my opinion that this wasn't a good package and just gone to absolute town on me.
They will get you for everything. Doesn't matter what you're talking about. Some Nintendo fan will get you, even if you're right, which most of the time you will be.
Yeah. And the other time I got serious abuse on social media was something about Rusev. It was like during a brief period when I was watching WWE, and I said something about Rusev, and someone just lost their mind.
Oh my god! I wonder what you'd have said.
I can't remember. It was. Oh, I think what it was, and I might probably not even fully accurate, but I remember saying I wasn't sure what sort of angle WWE were going for with Rusev, because it seemed like he's obviously a heel, but it seemed like his entire heel gimmick was to be be Russian, even though he was Bulgarian.
Yeah, that was
and like the Vladimir Putin stuff, and I was like, this doesn't really make much sense to me.
That's just a lack of any understanding of how to build a proper heel for any reason other than not American. He's our enemy.
Yeah.
What's our biggest enemy? Probably them. What's Bulgaria? Don't know,
but he looks Russian, so let's just
exactly. And he just went with it. Came out in a tank waving a fucking Russian flag.
Yeah.
Like, come on, mate.
I think that's what happened. It was because it was around that when he did that. It was at WrestleMania he did that.
It was WrestleMania, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shocking. Right, let's do a music tier list.
Yeah, let's do it.
3 minutes one. I think the first comment on here says best music ever made. 10 out of 10.
It's certainly up there with some of the most iconic.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go... It's so iconic and blah, 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 but I think for me it's just an A.
Super Mario Brothers. That's Castle Overworld. It's an A.
Yeah.
See, I made the mistake last time of miscategorizing Mumbo's Mountain. So
you did?
I was
what did we put that as? B, maybe?
B.
Yeah.
I don't want to... Why do I always just A? Fine. What's the...
Underworld. Super Mario Bros. Underworld is our next track. Very simple. And it works. And again, it's iconic. But that's it.
Yeah.
So for me...
Right, I've already decided where it's going, so I can't be swayed by you.
I'm gonna go C.
Oh, you're joking. Yeah, I'm going to C as well. Just use the same one.
That drum beat is good.
Yes.
But it's like the loop is 8 or 9 seconds.
I love the did.
Yeah, it's like Jaws or something, isn't it? I guess. Yeah. It's quite soothing, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I wonder if I It's not going to happen, I hope. But, you know, if I was to drown, I'd like to hope that this is the last thing I heard while I was drowning. When you get your brain swelling up, whatever, you start hallucinating, or whatever it is that you do when you drown, I'll hear this, please. I'm going to go B for that one. It's probably the better underwater of the two we're going to be looking at.
I don't love this. I'm going to put it C.
Okay.
I was actually no, I'm doing it. I'm putting it D. I'm going controversial.
Whoa! I really don't like it.
I think it's. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's my inner hate for Mario water levels coming out here.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, of course, there is always the fact that it's number 22, by the way. There's the fact that you know the squid, like the pink squid things in underwater levels. If you walk on the bottom of the level, they can't get you. They can't. They don't. Their animation or whatever their coding will not let them go to the bottom of the screen. So you can just walk under them. So just walk along the bottom for all those levels. You'll be fine. Now let's into the castle music.
I mean, this is certainly anxiety inducing.
Yeah, it could be a good metal song. I've always thought that like the two pieces of melody, like the and the blah, 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 don't work together at all.
No,
they almost like fighting against each other. Yeah, it's discordant, exactly.
I don't love
that's
this.
D for me. I think that's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
It's going D for me too.
Right, that's Mario 1. Mario Lost Levels is the same music because, as we said earlier, lazy. So now we need to find... I didn't put it in this one, actually, in our tier list, but the player select music for Mario 2 is fucking quality. Don't know why I didn't put it in there. I'm scum. Time for the Mario 2 Overworld. Love that bass line.
This reminds me of being in like a... If I was playing Red Dead and walked in a tap, like the pub, what'd you call it?
Like a saloon.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the cool things about the NES version of this is that if you paused it, you would just hear the bass line.
Oh, that is cool.
Not the melody, so like do.
This is a much more substantial song than the previous ones.
Yes. There is no question in my mind. This is fucking S. This is probably, I think, potentially my favourite OG 2D Mario, other than Mario World song ever.
It's my favourite one so far. I'm waiting. Let's see if something else gets close to that. But yeah, I agree. That is
such a funky piece of music.
Yeah, it's excellent. It just doesn't have, as much as we stuck it down in D, like, there's no part of this song that has the same to me.
Well, I put that as a C. But this one, Mario 2 Underworld, is 100% D.
Mario 2 Underworld. I'm actually glad I put it as a C, because it means I've got room to play with on a D. Oh no, I've got 2 Ds already.
Me too.
Where are we?
I've got Castle and Mario Bros 2 Underworld. I think it's like the orange looking one. Second one along.
Your D, and I think I'm going to D it as well. I'm up to 3 Ds.
Next up is...
I feel like I've been harsh to that music, that underwater music, but I'm sticking with it.
I think you were. We need to find the Birdo or the boss music, whatever they've called it there.
As a boss music, this is better. This is better than the castle one.
Oh,
don't love
I
that,
will say
actually.
no. I mean, I think it definitely pumps. It pumps you up because you know you're about to fight Birdo every time it kicks in. So I think for that, it drags itself back up to a C, but it don't do much more than that.
I'm gonna give it a D again. There we go. For goodness sakes.
Another great bass line there hiding underneath all of it. Nice, simple loop. I'm going to give that one an A.
A for you.
Yeah, because it's just, that is a lovely, again, we say it quite a lot, and it's like a lovely little warm pair of slippers. Just slipping them on and here we go. Mario 3 kicking in.
I'm just going to slip it into the B.
You're doing it a B, are you?
Mm-hmm. But I agree with you. It is just... Yes.
So chill. It's like reggae, isn't it, almost?
Yeah, it's so good.
Quite a short loop again.
Yeah.
But a good one. I think I'm going to give it an S.
S, yeah, I'm in full agreement with that. 2 over. I like this one as well.
The second part of it is arguably better, I reckon. This bit. And it starts itself back up again really nicely, where it kind of builds it up like there. I think it's just about an A for me.
An A.
I think it quite fits into the. It's not quite as good as the S as the Overworld
for me.
Oh,
Yeah, I love that one.
Right.
Are we heading underwater?
Yeah, lads and lasses, I think the good stuff is done. 3 more to go. Don't hold your breath. Oh yeah, we don't need Underworld because it's the same as Mario 1 again. This is like trippy. The other one's like relaxing. This is a bit more fucked up.
I think it's the synthiness to it.
Yeah. Well, there's that to consider. We've got the SNES sound chip that's very much not chiptune compared to the NES. Some of these songs are probably better originally. I think that's going to be a C. Don't hate that, but it's not great.
Oh, see, I'm thinking I would like to move retrospectively because I quite like to move this underwater up to C.
Okay.
And put this underwater in at D.
That's fair.
Because I think because I was like, I want to put this at D, but I also think the previous Mario water music was better. So in it goes.
It was better. Very lot of pop in this one.
It's funny though. It's just like because you played it so much. As soon as that starts, I just get like a visual cue in my brain of Mario running and jumping on the anchor.
Yeah, just pulling himself up. They have certainly done good things with this in like more modern Mario games where they just like slip it in every now and again. Again, a really short loop. Like,
really short. I think of all of them, this sounds the least like an old school video game console. Does that like that trombone chime thing sounds? Sorry, what were you saying? Your music input is infinitely more valuable than mine.
No, yours was good.
What are you thinking?
I think that goes B because what's there is pretty effective.
Yeah.
And it's evocative of like how grandiose you're in the air on a fucking ship and you're going to destroy it and fall right down to the ground. But it's just short. And they've done, like I said, they've done a lot of good stuff with it in more recent Mario games, like dropping it in like Mario Odyssey and some of the Mario Karts and stuff. But
I think effective is
bang middle.
I think effective is what puts it B for me. Like I feel like actual like composition and quality to me, it's more C. But like if you group it together with its sort of bigger whole, it's a B.
Yeah, it's like it's limited by the hardware it's created on. But if you close your eyes and sort of imagine it being like really epic and orchestral, it kind of works.
Yep.
It's got to be. Kind of like probably to try and give you the ghostly feel, like because of the booze introduction in this game, maybe.
It's atmospheric more than being an actual.
Yeah.
Like I think that on its own, there's like songs in this tier list on their own. I'd happily listen to this. I wouldn't be sitting listening to this in my room.
No. I think this is going D for me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to join you. Slapping it in at D. The music lists, they're good fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have got, in D, I've got the Mario Brothers Castle, Mario 2 Underworld, Mario 3 Castle. C tier, I've got Mario 1 Underworld, Mario Bros 2 Birdo, Mario 3 Underwater. B, Mario Underwater, Mario 3 Airship. A, Mario 1 Overworld, Mario 3 Map, Mario 3 Athletic. And in S tier, the Mario 2 Overworld and the Mario 3 Overworld. Two absolute classics.
Yes.
What have you got? Fewer A's than me. You've got a more bottom-heavy list.
Yeah, more. I think I've opened up my one twice. So I've got
there,
in D tier. I've got Super Mario Bros. 3 Underwater, Super Mario 3 Castle, Mario 2 Boss, Mario Bros. 2 Underworld, and the Mario Bros. Castle in at D. C I've plopped for Super Mario Bros. Underworld and Super Mario Bros. Underwater. B I've got Super Mario Bros. 3 Map and Super Mario Bros. 3 Airship. And A tier I've slapped in Super Mario Bros. Overworld. And my S tier I've got Overworld for Super Mario Bros. 2, Overworld for Super Mario Bros. 3, and Athletic for Super Mario Bros. 3.
Oh yeah, of course. Although the airship is effective, it's an absolute crime you've got that in the same tier as.
Yeah, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right.
Oh well. Good old lists.
Good old lists. And I suppose that, have we anything else to discuss about these games? I guess.
No, I don't think so. Oh, I haven't. No.
We have torn it apart. It was a wonderful old time going back to it.
I mean, it's great having these on the Switch on the SNES thing. Really,
a couple of interesting personal revelations. I.e., like I knew I wasn't going to like the Lost Levels. Maybe didn't hate it as much as I thought I did, but I still don't think it's good. And I sort of
you've done it now, though. That's the game of badge you've got.
Exactly. And if I'm being honest with myself, as much as I love Super Mario Bros. 2. I think there are plenty better Mario Brothers, because I think I used to go around telling people it was my favorite Mario game. It's not even close, but it's still a really, really good game, and I had a great time playing it. I suppose that brings us to the end of our journey here today. Time to pack up and mosey on home so that we can get ready for the next game we have on our docket, which I believe brings us into our summer of Resi. Alex,
it does.
What I have written here is, and first up we have, and then I've got a bunch of X's.
So we're going to do Resi 2 Remake next.
Yeah, Resi 2 Remake next.
Sick.
I suppose that brings us to the end of our journey here today. Time to pack up and mosey on home so that we can get ready for the next game we have on our docket, which I believe brings us to our now traditional Summer of Resi. And first up we have the Resident Evil 2 Remake, which I haven't played in a few years, so I'm looking forward to getting back into that.
Yeah, I think I did both the both the campaigns the first time around. But I think the reason I'm probably most keen to play this is that this is a real strong contender for what I think is probably the best Resident Evil game ever. The remake of this.
Okay.
So I'd be interested to see how I feel about it.
Well, maybe
4 remake and the original, and yeah.
Maybe on our sort of podcast compendium of madness list, where basically we list all the games that we're covering and have covered, we should add an ongoing Resident Evil tiered list to that, and we'll rank every time. What we'll do, we could do in the next episode is we could do a quick ranking of the games we've already covered.
Yeah.
And then we'll add every time we do a Resident Evil game.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard. Not to get the bottom one, because I think we'll all agree it's 5. But, or is it 0? Oh, see, it's hard. Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
I mean, I think we can also safely add 6 to the list as well, because we did play a lot of it.
Yeah,
for the podcast. We just didn't make an episode out of it because we hated it so much.
Yeah, well, we only played like half of the first scenario of 3. It's a massive game.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, it's a big long, isn't it?
Yeah, we only did some of Leon before we got sick of the bullshit, and that's the end of that.
There's only so many times I can be highly entertained by Leon. Was he suplexing and drop kicking people? Oh, and the sort of shuffling back on his back that you can do. I enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, you can just just like a backwards dive, and then you can just kind of roll around. Yeah.
We've got that coming up. So we're penciling in for 3 Resident Evil games. So we'll see how many
until the end of August. We reckon that's doable. 3 games across the summer. But the next launch, you'll have to wait and see what they are.
Yeah, it's a secret. If you have enjoyed what you've heard today, and even if you didn't, please subscribe to us on your podcast feed of choice, and then do us a favour and leave us a 5-star review. If you prefer to see while you hear, you can also head over to our YouTube channel where you can catch our video version of the podcast. Beyond that, we'd love to hear from you all, so please send any questions or thoughts over to our email address, awinnerisyoupod@gmail.com, or you can keep up to date with the latest goings on here at A Winner Is You Towers by following us on Twitter at Winner Is You Pod, or give either myself or Alex a follow on Twitter at DavidSmiley1 and at SuperThrillix, where you can be treated to whatever word vomit comes to our minds at any particular moment. We don't. So our threads.
As long as you've not used up all your rate limit.
Or your rate limit. We do have threads, but it's the same as our Instagram, which is Winner Is You Podcast, I think.
That worked now, does it? Because I know, weren't you on a waiting list or something?
Yeah. I never got. Yeah. We don't need to go into that, but yes. It's not interesting chat. From my side, I continue to write my weekly newsletter, so head over to supersmiley.substack.com and subscribe so I can send you a weekly email about the interesting news going on across the games industry. Alex, have you got anything going on? You have Video Game Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's coming up on. Well, we're recording on Thursday. That should be out on Monday.
What's the topic? I always like
controversial games.
Controversial games.
Yeah, so this will go out the day we record. So we'll see if anybody listening knows that I'm going to pick The Wind Waker.
Yes, that's the right choice.
I don't think they're going to think I'm going to I don't think they're going to have that in their head as a controversial game, but we all know that it is.
That's the correct choice. Zelda.
Yeah. Exactly.
And on that bombshell, I've been David, he has been Alex, and we have been A Winner Is You, and I'm out.
Keep gaming.